What do Megan Thee Stallion and the Solar Impulse 2 aircraft have in common? Nothing, but that's what we're talking about today. Welcome to the OKHAF Does Whatever She Wants podcast. I'm OKHAF and I'm going to do whatever I want. Today we're talking about Megan Thee Stallion and the Solar Impulse aircraft. Aircraft is the word that I'm looking for. Thank you very much for that. They don't have anything in common, but those are the things that I want to talk about today. First of all, fuck whatever that man's name is, Clay something. This is not the first time Megan has been cheated on, and I would just like to say, I posted a video on TikTok and Instagram about this, and I'll say it here for those of you who don't follow me on social media yet, or don't. It's fine. I don't care. I'm not your mom. I once a very long time ago was a sort of a professional cheater of sorts. The story, lore drop. It's a Laura drop, okay? Just go get a snack. When I was married once upon a time ago, very long time ago, and got pregnant unexpectedly, and I was not prepared. I was not prepared emotionally, physically, mentally. I was just not ready. And he was very supportive, very pro-choice. We love him. And he said, whatever you want. And I was like, okay. So I had decided I was going to the clinic, and we were gonna abort the thing. And I was a student and I was working part-time, and it was Mother's Day weekend, and everyone kept telling me Happy Mother's Day or asking if I was a mom, not knowing that I was pregnant and had decided to not go through with the pregnancy. And I lost like the first 30 minutes of my shift, and I was just like bawling, and my manager was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No." And I just like word vomited, and she was like, "Okay, go home. you should go home today. It's okay." So I did, and I looked at my then husband, and I was like, I can't, I can't do that. I can't do it. The guilt was too much, right? And for the record, I am very pro-choice, and there's no judgment cast on anyone for any reason. I will drive you to the clinic if you need someone to take you, but it just like wasn't the right decision for me. But at the same time, like I wasn't ready, and it really fucked with me. It more than I thought it would. It was more than just like postpartum depression kind of thing. It was that. I did have a lot of that, but then it was also my body changed in ways that I hated. Like all of a sudden I was like 220 pounds, which is like it's not a big deal, except for I also hadn't, and I still haven't really, like what millennial has, broken down that idea that fat is bad. Like that's a really hard thing for a lot of elder millennials especially to work out of our fucking brains, because we grew up with media all across the board telling us that Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera and Beyonce and like all of these very thin people were fat because they had like skin. They like hung over their low-rise jeans. It was a layer of postpartum depression, a layer of fat phobia for myself, because it was never about other people. It was always about me. Like my body changing in ways that I was not prepared for, not ready for, didn't want. My whole life being turned upside down, losing all of my freedom to do anything because now I had to take care of a tiny human. And I was very resentful that I had to go through all of that. And I was making lots of changes that he was not making and not willing to make. And so he and his whole family is admittedly like this. They're not confrontational. They don't like to talk about uncomfortable things. They will just pretend like it's not there and hope that it goes away until they blow up about it. You know, it is what it is. And so I got sick of trying to talk to him about things that were bothering me, because he would tell me whatever I wanted to hear and then nothing would change. So I just decided, all right, well, I'm not getting the things I need. You're not doing what I'm asking of you to do. So I'm just going to go do whatever I want. I'm going to do what's going to make me feel good at the time. And it didn't make me feel good long term, but at the time, I had a lot of fun. The cheating filled a void that I needed. Pun intended, and also not, but like it did. And you know, there was a lot. There was a lot. It kept me in a place where I could be a better mom, because I wasn't resentful, I wasn't angry, I wasn't frustrated by anything. I was literally doing what I needed to do for me so that I could be a better parent. And that's really how like our marriage fell apart. I did that. Well, that's my professional cheating background. I was very good at it. And by good, I mean I'm not bragging. I'm saying I know what happens to people when they do cheat, and especially when they are serial cheaters, chronic cheaters. Like I know what happens psychologically, I know what happens physically, I know what happens to your relationships and your own mental health. So with all of that in mind, there's lots of videos of people saying, how could you cheat on Megan Thee Stallion, one of the most beautiful women in the world, and like all of this. And I have two schools of thought on that. The first one that's not really as important is like, no one deserves to be cheated on. Literally no one. I have also been cheated on. My last partner cheated on me with like half of England and probably some of Scotland. And it didn't feel good. It was awful. It was terrible. But I knew, you know, I've been there. I've been that person. So I, you know, could empathize a little bit. But like, no one deserves that. Even if that man were dating someone who wasn't conventionally attractive and wasn't famous and wasn't super talented and all of the things that we see in Megan Thee Stallion, she still wouldn't have deserved to be cheated on. So this level of like, how could you cheat on her? Like, how could you cheat on anybody? And I understand, you know, sometimes you're stuck in a relationship that might be, there's a power imbalance, it might be abusive, and you might need to seek some other sort of comfort somewhere. But like, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the comparing Megan Thee Stallion as a top tier sort of woman who doesn't deserve to be cheated on compared to someone else, right? So like, let's examine the misogyny there, and let's just like say like the man shouldn't have cheated on anybody, right? The man should not have cheated on anyone. On top of that, the other thing is that it has nothing to do with Megan Thee Stallion. Literally has nothing to do with her, except for she was there. She just happened to be the one that he cheated on. The cheating is always based in the cheater's mindset, mental health, whatever they got going on inside of them. It's always based in that. It's not based on the other person. There's a need that's not being met. There's something that's not being addressed within them. And they think the answer is to find some sort of comfort or excitement or whatever it is outside of their committed relationship. Now, if you don't want to be in a committed relationship and you want to be able to slang it around town and do whatever you want, then do that. But don't commit to a person. Be honest about it. There are people out there who are polyamorous, who are ethically non-monogamous, or who just want to be sluts too. There are plenty of sluts out there. There's no shame in that. But if you're gonna be a slut, then be one. Be an ethical slut, okay? So whatever that man's got going on, like with him, he did a really shitty thing to Megan Thee Stallion. And apparently he's done that to other women. So it's not a surprise. And honestly, it's not a surprise that a man was cheating. It's sort of a surprise when a woman is cheating. No one's ever shocked that a man is like cheating on a woman. No one's ever shocked. We're pissed because Megan deserves better, but we all deserve better. And sometimes you just got to be honest with yourself and say, like, I really like this person, but now's not the right time because there's this other thing and there's that other thing. And I want to try those other things. And that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Anyway, if you've ever been cheated on, please know that it's not you. It's them. They're the problem. I was the problem. And then someone else was the problem for me. All right, let's talk about the Solar Impulse 2. Listen, if you are not playing Sky Cards, why the fuck not? Sky Cards is like a Pokemon Go, but for planes. You literally pull it up on your phone and it uses real-time flight data to show you where planes are and you can catch them. And it starts where your location is and you just catch planes all around you. When you catch a plane, whatever destination airport it's going to, you unlock that airport. And then you can travel to that airport with coins. And then you can catch other planes to unlock other airports. And that's how you travel around the whole entire world. Every time you catch a plane, you get a card for that plane. And I'll show some screenshots here of what that looks like. And then when you catch that model over and over again, you can upgrade that card from paper all the way up to cyber. There are different rarities of planes. And one of the planes that we have been looking at is called the Solar Impulse 2. It's been down in Key West, just like flying in squares and rectangles. And it flew the other day for 29 hours. And the folks in my community were all watching it like, what is this? What is going on? So I, the aviation nerd, did a little bit of research into the Solar Impulse Foundation and what they're up to. And apparently the longest flight was 117 hours. And it was based on solar energy alone. No fuel was used. It's like 3 tennis courts long. It is very, very long, but it's light. It's only the weight of like a sedan, like a regular family car. So what they had to do was create their own training system for this kind of plane, because a plane like this hadn't been flown before. Pilots didn't know how to fly it. So they created their own virtual training program. It only seats one person. The wingspan is 72 meters. It's got one pilot. It only weighs 2.3 tons. In contrast, the 747 can weigh anywhere from like 170 to 220 tons. The number of solar cells is 17,248. It's got 4 propellers and 4 batteries. The maximum recorded ground speed was 260 kilometers an hour. Average airspeed is 75 kilometers an hour, and the maximum altitude is 28,000 feet. And like I said, the maximum flight time achieved was 117 hours and 52 minutes. It is an example of what we can do when we want to. So the engineers who worked on this had a vision of flight without fuel, and solar being the future of that. So the whole top of the wingspan is solar panels, and that's what it's used to fly on. Now, the aircraft is not going to be carrying cargo from one place to the other. It's not going to be carrying passengers from one place to the other, but it is a testament to what the future could look like, even if it's just reducing the amount of fuel. And with the war in Iran and all of the conflicts that can arise where the Strait of Hormuz is closed and we don't have access to oil anymore, moving in a direction, better late than never, that allows us to supplement oil with other energies is amazing. Not only just for the cost of things, because fuel prices are going up, but also for the environment. So for these long flights, the pilots were Bertrand Piccard and Andre Borschberg. The stamina that's needed to fly an airplane for 5 days across the Pacific Ocean from Japan to Hawaii is wild. It's wild. But also, they're in this tiny little cockpit. How do they do that? Well, I'll tell you how. There was no way to know how to fly a plane like this because there has been no plane like this with such a wide wingspan that didn't weigh so much. They had to create the rule book on how to fly this thing from nothing. And then they had to create their own systems in order to safeguard the pilot when they were flying on these longer flights. Because it doesn't matter how much stamina you have, you still fucking need to sleep. They created what's called the stabilization augmentation system. Now, before we go any further, that might sound familiar to you if you're familiar with the Boeing 737 MAX catastrophes that happened in 2018, 2019. This is a different system. That was an MCAS system, and we can go into that on a different video if you want me to. Just leave a comment down below and let me know. I'm happy to go over that as well. But it is a different system than that. So I just wanted to make that very clear to all the aviation nerds who hear augmentation system, stabilization systems, and it's a very different, there are other stabilization systems out there. This one was created specifically for the Solar Impulse 2. It's just a monitoring system that checks the autopilot, make sure it's like doing the things it needs to do. And if it goes out of certain ranges of like safety, it will correct itself. This also allows the pilot to like take little naps. And what happens is if the autopilot gets out of those ranges, the pilot wears these sleeves when he is asleep and the autopilot does something wonky, it will wake him up. There's this alert that goes off and the sleeves vibrate to wake them up so that they can course correct or do whatever they need to do to fix the autopilot. This is really interesting. So when it flew around the world, it went from Nagoya, Japan to Kalealoa. Hawaii. Please let me know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm so sorry. That was 5 days. And then 3 days and 2 nights from Hawaii to California, San Francisco. And then 3 days and nights from New York to Seville, Spain. That's so long. And I didn't think about like, where do you store the plane? Where do you put it? So according to their website, landing on the biggest international airports with an experimental aircraft, no hangar big enough to house the aircraft, it's not a problem for the ground crew. The men and women behind the scenes made it possible for the SI-2 and its pilots to go around in a safe, secured way, organizing aircraft safety movements, technical tests, and checkup in coordination with the mission engineers at the MCC. So they had a mobile hangar that they would take to the different airports to store the aircraft. Like I said earlier, this plane in particular is not going to be the future of transportation or cargo systems, but it does show what we can do. What's the next step? How do we get from solar airplane flying around the world with zero fuel consumption to a regional jet flight with no fuel consumption? What do those steps look like? And I'm very excited for the future of aviation because this shows that it's possible when we have the funding and the will and the want to cut ourselves off from the chokehold that fossil fuels have on us. We can absolutely make it happen. I'm going to leave all of the websites that I referenced linked down below. If you want to learn more about the Solar Impulse, please do. It is amazing technology. It for an aviation nerd, it is so cool to read about. It's really neat to see. It's a plane that's massive but also small at the same time. And if you're not on SkyCards, get on SkyCards. I'll leave a link down below for that as well. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, please follow all my socials. Everything's linked in the show notes. Join my Patreon. We're doing a content sprint in May, and whew, Lord. Also follow me on Twitch if you're there. We're there every day. Co-working, and my hair is doing wild things. Anyway, thank you for listening to me. Don't cheat on people. It's not good. And if someone cheats on you, leave them immediately. There's not really any coming back from that. That's not to say that people can't reform, but you know, I don't know, whatever. Or don't listen to me at all. Do what you want. I'm not your mom. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Thank you for being here. See you later. Bye.